Dear Venerable Dhamma friends, today also we are going to start another question and answer session. We will start with the written questions and as time permits, if there are any other questions or statement, you may raise them accordingly, but we are going to start with the already written questions. I would like to invite Venerable Dhamma to present the written questions.
Dear Bhante, when I am in sitting meditation and a person at the other end of the hall is doing walking meditation and the sound of their feet bothers me, are they being inconsiderate or am I being not mindful? Please advise with metta.
So it is good that you are mindful, at least you know you are hearing. So therefore ask the other person to do little thud and listening. That is the way meditation is. So therefore you are waiting the whole world to be silent. You can't. Only what you can do is you can listen to your own sounds. That make yourself more mindful. I would like to quote Venerable Vebusyado. He was someone contemporary with Maha, passed away, and he is the person indirectly started this Goenka system, or Ubakin and then Goenka. And he is not much of a learned person, but he was prescribing Anapanasati, and now presently his talks are being translated slowly, and English books are available in Buddhist Publication Society. Then he says that when we are meditating in the hall, some of people are moving here and there and make noise. Some of them are coughing. Some of them are walking in an inconsiderate way. So he says, for example, out of them, the coughing, sound of cough, can't help because the other person is sick. So sound happens. So some complain telling that I can't meditate because of this sound. Then he says, you have to understand your mindfulness is so weak, it is broken even by the sound of the cough. It's a good indication for you. Whenever the mindfulness come up to a certain level, it doesn't matter. So therefore check your mindfulness. It is so maybe at the starting point, and what you have to do is tighten your belts and try to be more and more mindful. And one day, if you take in the yoniso manasikara, in the constructive way, in the how to recycle it, then one day you will understand these sounds are happening, but still you are not disturbed. Sounds are there, you are not disturbed. And then you can understand now, my mindfulness is come up to some tolerance level. These light sounds don't disturb. And then you have to thank that particular person gave that noise or distraction, because that is the test. From that only you can understand my mindfulness has come up to certain level. And there's a remark after that. He says, even if you feel thankful for the person who has given the distraction, don't be fool to get up and go and say thanks. So anything happen is to test your mindfulness. If you are going to switch off the world, what is the necessity of a Nibbana? It never happens. So therefore, some can do it. I am not promoting, I am not asking anyone to disturb others. It's a crime. Because each and everyone come here with so much of sacrification and expectation, so don't disturb it. So that is as far as your help for the other material. But if anything happening to you, still you must have your own method just to put up with that, cope up with that. And note it, your primary object again and again, and see the hatred. When you are at home, people may go above you and still no problem. Anything happen, no problem, because you are not concerned. And you also may do the same. But when you come here, you can see the level of irritation, the level of fault finding, level of expectation of the world, how it should be, it's become very, very like an open wound. After removing the dressing, wound is very painful, something like that. So therefore consider this is a kind of a opening in your mind. Don't complain others. There may be some mishaps. I am not promoting it. I am not going to advise that kind of people other than general instruction. But you have to understand, my mindfulness is so tender, it is been broken by this thud sound. So put up your level of immunity, and that is the lasting answer than instructing the other people. So when the monkeys are jumping from one branch to one branch, even if you instruct me to instruct monkeys, I don't know monkey language. Then for the human I may try. One day there had been a loudspeaker sound, and one of the monks meditating and got disturbed. Immediately he has gone to Nissarana and told Bhante, you see, that we come here, the villagers have no any sense. They are opening the loudspeakers, direct to this side. So whenever Nissarana has taken the walking stick and says, we both will go to that place and talk. Just let them know that we appreciate silence. And while going there, later or after, there had been a jet going with a very fast sound. Then whenever Nissarana stop and say, you see, now when we go to the village, we can stop the loudspeaker. So if you go and come and ask me to stop the jets, I can't. So therefore, mind your own business, go and meditate. Then that other monk has gone to the house, the kuti, and started meditation. So therefore, don't worry about the outside thing. Your mind is very sensitive to find fault with others. You never find your hatred. At home, these things are not up to the hatred. They may come and go. But when you come to the meditation, that you have to note it. So rather than instructing the people right down, that take care about your level of immunity and make up your mind and continue, please.
Most Venerable Bhante, my meditation object is abdomen rising and falling. Because I am practicing this for a long time in day-to-day normal work, also my mind goes to this object. This is like a resting place for my mind. I do most of the day-to-day work mindfully. Occasionally, if I make a mistake, I come to know quickly. Only my problem is if I make a mistake and need to apologize to someone, I am not doing that quickly. It is always difficult for me to tell others I made a mistake and give an apology. How to improve this situation? With metta. Wish you all the courage and health for you to achieve your goal in this very life.
So as far as you know, you have this weakness to go and apologize. This is one step ahead. And writing to audience like this, another step ahead. So therefore, see that you know what to do. Still you are not implementing, but mentally you appreciate, if possible, to apologize. So that may not be the exact answer for this situation. This is how your openness and practical oriented thinking going to happen. So you may apologize in front of a noble friend or a spiritual person. You can. That is why you feel like writing here. But expect the time will come. You may really become very humble, or the term is innocence. You become very innocent to go. The moment you do, you can see the amount of release you get it. By just mere apologizing, maybe the other person is not relevant. Even then you open yourself, make yourself open. So one day it will happen. So this is a very good sign. You are now openly telling it. And besides that, you say most of the time, you try to be mindful. And even in the rising and falling, when you are observing, when the mind goes out, The coming back you already observed. So these are the supportive factors. Don't worry. Immediately you will learn how to implement this action of asking for pardon.
Dear Venerable Bhante, I am wondering how the practice of metta is included in vipassana meditation. With thanks.
You may repeat the question, please.
I am wondering how the practice of metta is included in vipassana meditation.
So in vipassana, you make yourself the best friend. That friendliness, this softness is the metta. Metta, mitra. Friendliness is another epithet or another way of presenting. So when you become more and more self-aware, when you more and more pardoning yourself and make yourself the best friend, naturally you will see the world is more greener, it's more lively. And one lady, after doing vipassana bhavana, she has reported to one of his friends, I see a beautiful tree after the meditation. And the friend has asked, where? Just in front of my house. After meditation, tree is not a tree. It is more lively. It's more greener because your mind is more greener. So therefore make a point how much you become related to yourself, friendly with yourself, and sympathizing yourself. That's a metta. It is, even though it is not practicing separately, as a byproduct, naturally it is happening.
Dear Bhante, when doing sitting meditation or walking meditation, the mind is calm. No karma arises from kaya, mind, cetana, or word, vachane. If one cultivates this daily for about 4 to 5 hours, will one's past karma be extinguished? Ahengsi? Please explain.
So you are 24 hours you are collecting karma, and 24 hours you are going to do away with karma. Just put into simple arithmetic. If the question I got correctly, you take care about the 4 hours and there is no much of repercussions and accumulation. But mind you, 20 hours behind left over, and during that throughout you are accumulating karma. It's a good. Better than something is better than nothing. So now you have to understand how can you make that 4 hours to 5, 5 hours to 6, 6 to 7. That is the way good must be better. Being in the good, you must always try to be better. And then the person who has never started, when compared to that, you are better off. You can expand slowly because you have already started. So therefore, don't calculate in that way. Just put in the simple arithmetic. How many hours you are unmindful, or according to the letter itself. How many hours you have no accounts, bookkeeping. So this, the broad opening for karmic forces and other thing to happen. So take care. Or expand this 4 into 5, 6, 7, 8.
Dear Bhante, my primary object is to be mindful of my body on the ground, sitting posture. After some time, body touching the ground becomes as if my body is in a cloud, and again mindful about my thoughts. Is there a way I need to improve my mindfulness with metta?
So when you come to the body, if you can be aware, as far as you know the body posture, you have doing away with the rest of the world, the past, future, other places and other people. So enjoy that. You have the ability, you have the potential to be mindful in your body, and when that happens, the border or your boundary is your skin. Away from the skin, you have completely forgotten. You are with the inside the skin. So in and out boundary is your skin. And while being there, see what is the most active part, or what is the most prominent part, what is the most conspicuous part, to indicate that you are living. Maybe the lower part of the body that you touch. Or sometimes you may see the breathing up and down and in and out in the upper part. So select the most active part and confine the attention, mindfulness to that active part, and then you are ready to give up the balance of the body also. And when you are going to pinpoint where the signal is coming, touching the bottom area or rising and falling or breath, more and more you go to that particular concentration, confining, mindfulness is very sharp, and you may be reducing the boundary, in and out boundary, to that particular tiny point. That is what you call one-pointedness. So therefore, when and where mindfulness established, try to go for one-pointedness, so that when you are fixing a lens against the sun and keep a piece of paper and move up and down, when it's come to the real focal point, the paper will get burnt. When it's moving up and down, it is not. So likewise, you have to understand, once mindfulness is hit, where is the one-pointedness, where the burning quality is happening. So you have to adjust. Then you are ever engaged. You are sharpening your mindfulness and become one-pointedness, and that is what you call the concentration. So therefore, when and where you become mindful on your body, try to sharpen according to the rising object towards one-pointedness. And early stages you have to do some directions or adverting of the mind, but later it will learn that. So that is the point you have to sharpen.
Most Venerable Bhante, thank you so much for guiding me to correct my mistakes. After your advice, I realized that I built up a hatred towards myself whenever I get my sneezing problem. In addition, your advice of not to react to anything during the meditation and be prepared was also very helpful. Here's my report. Started watching the breath and noted the breath becoming subtle. Head slowly bends towards my body, and bending takes place with each out-breath. Then I raise my head slowly, mindfully, and silently, and noted that a long in-breath takes place automatically while raising the head. This bending and straightening happening about 3 times, and then I come to a very calm state. I get opened up to a white screen-like thing, but still I notice my breath. On and off I hear sounds, and my inner chatter goes on mainly on noting the points for the report. During this time, I get vibrations in my head, and with vibration I'm opened into a state where no more feeling of the breath. However, this is only for a few seconds, and then I revert to the blank screen. I get jerks in my tummy, needle pricking sensation on my toes. The sitting was for a little more than an hour. Please guide me to continue the spiritual path. Thank you and much merit to you. May all your desires be fulfilled in this life itself.
So it's a kind of a transitional period, very, very dramatic and very, very enthusiastic, giving so much of mental power. So therefore, at that stage, you must try to not to distract it or to give the maximum facilities or conducive conditions. In generally it says, when such a thing happen, don't change your feeding habit, sleeping habit, bathing habit, and association with unwanted people. Try to keep the mind and body as neutral as possible, natural as possible, so that as far as you can fix this variable, the progress is steady, steadfast. Whenever you get a stomach ache or some association problem with the others or some kind of sickness, so this trend will be hindered. So therefore, keep maximum health in your body, mind and the body, and that is the facility you can do. There is nothing you can do directly into this aspect, but indirectly give the conducive conditions and the facilitate it just like a plant. You can't grow it, but you can give sunlight, or you can give water, and you can give good air, or remove the shades, or dryness. That you can do, but growing is happening. So only thing is, don't let it distracted. Give the full guardians of security as much as possible. Then the steadfast growth will continue.
Dear Bhante, please let us know from where can we get the book In This Life Itself by Sayadaw U Pandita. Is there a single translation? Are we getting any Dhamma books at the end of the retreat with Metta?
That particular book you can find in the Asia publication edition in Buddhist Publication Society, or in the Wisdom publication in USA, and Taiwan. There are some free distribution books. So they have selected few places, and if you happen to visit these kind of places, you can find it. And there is no direct translation of this in this life itself. But I translated part of it in the same retreat, but some other talks that is first written in Burmese, and then I translated into Sinhala. Me Atbav Hima, that is a Sinhala version that you find in the Buddhist Publication Society. In the same retreat, not the same talks what you find in the book In This Very Life, but some other talks in the same retreat. So whatever the source, sometimes you may visit the Panditarama, www.panditarama.org or something like that, and there are some books of Sayadaw published for soft copy. So these are the things I can remember. Otherwise I can give the information to Doreen, keep the relationship with, and if you find any difficulty, please relate to me. I can help support. Books that you are going to distribute, you can just announce them.
Next question. Venerable Swami Vahanse, please explain these terms. Chuti Chitte, Bhavanga Chitte, Patisandhi Chitte.
Yeah, that if you can relate me how it is related to your meditation or your way of life, then I can understand. Otherwise, I am delivering talks. It is on a theme, and away from, I do not like to distract. So the particular person can say the relevance or what is the relationship with these terms, then I can take it up. Not otherwise for the theory, for the sake of theory. We have selected Maha Sakuludaayi Sutta. It is not talking about these terms. So unless the particular person pinpoint the practical necessity, I do not wish to take everyone's attention on this kind of theoretical offshoots.
Dear Bhante, in sitting meditation, I initially found it difficult to find in and out breath, so I moved to rising and falling of stomach as the primary object. That too wasn't easy. Later, as there were many examples related to in and out breath, I tried to come back to that. What is the right way to find the primary object? Is it okay to keep switching to find out with metta?
Whatever arising is your primary object. Don't chase behind. I think we have informed and instructed maybe 10 times in this very retreat itself. Don't chase behind anything. What is arising is your primary object. Just explain what is happening. Or rather, we can say, just see I am sitting. So this is a kind of torturing, self-torturing, that whatever the instructions given, the particular person can't hear it. They are only searching that is torturing machine or burning machine. So I try my best not to torture. So therefore please explain when you sit comfortably, calmly, what you feel, that will be a starting point. So can I ask that question, do you feel anything when you sit? Please let me know, or write next day. Then that will be a good start. Rather than asking the particular term primary object. That is something like a cross. You are going to get crucified. You are searching about your own cross. What I am telling is, please let me know what you feel. That will be a very good practical starting point. Please, please, please listen to me. Don't be so adamant and try to crucify yourself. But anyway, even you are crucifying yourself, I am not affected. Dhammajiva is not worried.
Dear Swamin Vahansa, while sitting meditation, breath disappears. Then slowly I noticed water coming out from my 2 nostrils like 2 waterfalls. Gradually felt water covered my whole body. While observing this for some time, no thoughts, in a calm state, without feelings, then suddenly opened my eyes. Please advise.
So we had to find 2 rubber hoses and get all the garden sprinkled, so if it is real water. So otherwise you have to understand, so the things that mind is producing. So therefore that means mindfulness. You are in your body, you know what is happening in the body, which is a concept or reality. Whatever it may be, it is better you have forgotten and given the past and the future, forgotten and given up the other places and other people. It has come. So be friendly with your body, be whatever it is arising as and when it arises. See things as they are. Gradually, this one-pointedness will sets in. So therefore, continue the same.
Most Venerable Swamin Vahansa, I wrote about my sitting meditation experience of very short spells of nothingness. Earlier, I was trying to see how long they lasted, and I guess I spoiled the experience. Now it seems to last a longer duration, and I note that no sooner I revert back, I experience the following. 1. A warm sensation coursing through the body. 2. Tingling sensations throughout the body. 3. A gentle but rapid swaying motion in my head and upper part of body, more rapid than my heartbeat, but I don't think I move physically. 4. Noises that were softer and far away suddenly seem to be happening just next to me. One interesting experience was the sound of the garden being swept downstairs. Suddenly, the sound appeared to be just to my side. Then it got back to the normal level. 5. The gums in my mouth seemed to tingle very prominently, more prominently than the rest of the body. These are the most recent experiences. I thank you for guidance, if any. Obo Hansata Thero Sadnai.
So that whenever these things, tingling, heat, stiffness, if you can see without relating to your body, then you can see their natural way. For example, you feel the tingling in your gum. But instead you can see the tingling nature without relating to your body parts, then you can see the universality of these elements. But at the early part, definitely you relate it to your body. My leg is heavy, head is swaying, gums are tingling. But ultimately just see the swaying nature, the tingling nature, the heaviness. And that is the way you are ready to accept it. Whenever you relate it to your body, liking and disliking is always mixed up. So see them in its original form, or that is to say, without interpretation or without relating to your body. So that must be your preparedness for the next sitting.
Venerable Bhante, when I am doing walking meditation, though I select feet as my primary object, soon my breath becomes very prominent. I kept on walking, did not try to bring the mind to my feet. It went on for as long as I walked, for about 40 minutes. Then I decided to slowly and mindfully proceed to my sitting meditation. I managed to do it without losing my concentration on my in-breath and out-breath. I was with my in-breath and sitting for another 30 minutes, and I just felt like taking a break, which I did. Your comments on the switch of the primary object is most appreciated. Thero and Sadhana.
So that don't stop it at the 45 minutes. Try to walk 1 hour as much as possible. And sitting also, try to keep the sitting posture at least 1 hour. When and where the time permits, even with shifting of little body, or even with shifting of the object, try to keep it. That is the way you are increase the quantity and adhering to the timetable. So this indicates really you can increase the time little by little, so that it will be come up to the mark average of 1 hour. And even with compromise, and later, once you come up to this 1 hour sitting and 1 hour walking, you can see your maneuverability or the changeability is increasing. So therefore, don't force yourself too much. By little, expand it to the ideal time, and later quality of the meditation also will be increased.
Dear Bhante, yesterday at the sermon, you mentioned there are other types of meditation methods. What are they? How would you choose the right method for an individual with metta?
So once you become mindful, mindfulness will let you know. For each and every meditation, mindfulness is the basic methods. So once you become mindful, you can be aware of the sitting posture, or breath, or elementary characteristic, or repulsivity of your body, or changing of the postures. These are the different facets under the label Kayanupassana, contemplation of the on the body as body.
Venerable Bhante, started watching the primary object, the start of in-breath, while doing the sitting meditation. Became calm and peaceful. Then the sounds of the forest insects, rahayas, were heard. Sounds of birds chirping heard. Sounds of tractors and trishaws heard. Every sound a gap was observed. Then the smell of incense felt. There too a gap felt. Blowing of the wind felt. A gap without the feeling was noticed. Then again I went to my primary object, start of the in-breath. After a while my hands started to shiver. I had felt the lips trembling earlier, but the hands shaking was the first time. Bhante mentioned about vibrations. Are these vibrations? If so, why do we feel them? Is there a reason for it? Please explain with metta.
So there also just I mentioned, when shivering happens, just see the shivering without relating it to the body or the hand. So that is the way you understand the shivering nature. It's a characteristic of the air element. So our localized mind is always says hand is shivering or finger is shivering, the kind of a relation with the body, then the fear, likings and disliking can come and play. So just see the shivering nature. If you are to understand it, you can't feel the shivering nature of a rock. You can't feel the shivering nature of a tree. When it happened, it is happening within your body, but don't worry about the body parts. Just see the natural characteristic called the shivering, moving, swaying. So that day you can entertain it. It's really you see the elementary characteristic. Moment you are related to the body, fear or uncertainty or likings and disliking can come. It never give the picture, things as they are. So therefore let them happen, but don't personalize, don't relate it to the body. Even if it is happening related to the body, just see the natural characteristics or elementary characteristic as such.
That was the last one.
So we have spent about 40 minutes. If there are any other clarifications or any other questions or topics before going to the walking meditation.
Swamin Wahanse, I saw a small cartoon in a Western magazine. I was very much inspired by that. I just quote that it was two friends met after a lapse of time each other, and one was asking, what did you gain out of your meditation? So the second one was telling, I got nothing. Instead, I lost many things, like desire, jealousy, anger, something like that. So I think you are the best person to explain this, and I would like to know whether this is applicable to us as well. So I will quote it again. The friend A was asking, what did you gain out of the meditation practice? The friend B was answering, I gained nothing, but instead I lost many things, like anger, jealousy, and desire.
So more and more you give up the anger, more and more you jealousy and desire, you will leave it in this meditation center, meditation hall, that it become very sacred. More you shed defilements here, meditation center and the play hall becomes sacred. If you take it along with you, the whole is not contributing you. So holy places is the place the great people shed their defilements. You can make the places holy only by shedding off your defilements. So therefore that many people doing meditation on supply and demand theory, business people. That is called business Buddhism, or American Buddhism. Our Sudha is from America. So in meditation, utter lost. So therefore it says the best end result of the meditation is utter disappointment. So therefore you must have an appointment with the disappointment, then your meditation is utterly successful. Instead, if you have an appointment, definitely you are going to end up with disappointment. So there was one article written by Trungpa. When I was in the university, I used to go to our faculty library. It's a very limited amount. So one day I went to the main library. It is basically for the art students. And the main library, there were cyclo-style books, fresh newcomers. So I read it. It is some translations of the Mahayana text. At the end, there was one article of A4 size paper, appointment with the disappointment. So I keep on reading, standing, and I found this is something really, really inspiring. And later I got down all the books and read. That was my very first thing, exposure to the Buddhism, practical Buddhism. Even though I am born Buddhist, it was Mahayana. They are telling Theravada people are always asking this and that. The Mahayana is giving this shunyata, the voidness, the emptiness, and that is being distracted from Theravada Buddhism because it is fearful. It is leading to unknown, it is leading to something new. So they are asking something, how to gain this and that. Ultimately what is happening is you are losing or deconditioning or de-learning. So that is very difficult. That is what says it's going against the grain. So jokes are very, very appealing. Because it is directly talking to your subconscious. Examples, jokes, poems, directly related to your subconscious. Your rational mind is so cussed. It is so conditioned. It can't understand. It can't entertain anything. Always in irritation. But if you can address to the subconscious, it is crossing the message. So therefore, shed as much as possible defilements here. It's a very fresh hall, specifically the male section. And it will become very seasoned meditation hall or sacred meditation hall. You are not making sacred something by giving incense or giving flowers or giving oil lamps. You make it sacred by shedding off the defilement. Therefore, the Buddha says, there are 3 memorial places for a person. The person who become ordained, the place where he decided to not to do, or to do away with all the worldly things. It's a saraniya place. The second thing, the place you become sotapanna. Third place is you become arahant. These are the places you are unreturnable way, you just shed off. But the ordained people can be disrobed and kind of thing. But if it's a progressing person, wherever you ordain, that is a place you decide, all your possessions and gains and fame you are ready to sacrifice. And the Sotapanna is a place, for the first time, your egotistic crux, the main thing, will shed. Just like a shedding off of your worn out skin. And the Arahantship is rest of it. But it is not being presented in this way in the Theravada tradition. They are expecting fame, gain, this and that. So therefore they are daily go back with desperation. So they are expecting something. So very difficult to sell this idea, to say meditation is to gain nothing, but lose many things. So who will come then for meditation? No one. Okay, so we have 1 hour and 10 minutes for walking meditation. With that announcement, I would like to sum up the question and answer session. We'll be meeting here again at 3 o'clock. Thank you very much for the participation.